Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our September webinar. We have a lot geared up for this month. It's National Preparedness Month. It's the month where we get to talk all about emergency preparedness and all the different steps. And we've got a lot of fun activities that we have coming up that we are going to share with you. So our theme for 2025 is Together We're Ready. We've been really focusing on family preparedness and making sure that everyone in our family, including kids, older adults, pets, anyone that may be a part of your family, is all ready for an emergency. This year's National Preparedness Month theme, Preparedness Starts at Home, really goes with the yearly theme that we picked. So I'm really happy to be able to share some resources to go along with that. So knowing your risk, we do have a couple different tools within Fairfax County. So knowing your risk is really just knowing what emergencies and disasters can affect your area. So I'll share some tools with you in a minute, but if you could just think about the different things that may affect you, whether it's an everyday emergency like a fire, a car accident, a medical emergency. If it's a natural disaster, we're in the middle of hurricane season. And although Fairfax County doesn't really see hurricanes and direct hits, we often see the effects of hurricanes, which could include flooding, tornadoes, thunderstorms, all of those good things. So knowing what your risk is here, and actually, even when you're traveling, knowing your risk, no matter where you go, is always super important. So a couple tools we have to help you figure that out is our Community Emergency Response Guide. Here, I just picked an everyday emergency, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to see what one of those hazard pages looks like. So the hazard page, it has what the emergency or disaster is. It has some key definitions. So for example, on our flooding pages, our definitions include what an advisory, a watch, a warning means, and what are the associated actions that we recommend that you take with that. We also have what to do before, during, and after. So different disasters and emergencies have different actions, whether it's a fire, whether it's a medical emergency, if it's an active assailant situation, or even an emerging infectious disease. There are different things that we recommend to do. So you can check out the SERG, as we call it, and look through some of those different hazards in order to identify what your risk is. Making a plan. So this has been huge. We do want to make sure that everyone has an emergency plan. We know that this can be super overwhelming. We do have some templates that you can use to help walk through that emergency plan. But planning begins at home. So we want to make sure that we are covered by insurance. Everyone is aware of what the emergency plan is, having an exit strategy, having that common meeting place, all of the things that you may want to think through. We do have different things in the SERG, which I'll show you in a second, to support that. We also have a great template for building a kit. So we have a checklist, and it is inclusive of families at home. So it's what to do to pack for little kids, school-aged kids. If you have anyone with a disability or access and functional need in your home, what are the extra special considerations? And then, of course, your pets. We never want you to leave your pets at home. If you evacuate, take your pet. But we also would encourage you to have an emergency kit for your pet, or include it in your evacuation kit that you make. And here's just a little snapshot of what those templates look like. So the SERG template, you can either print it out and fill it out. We suggest pencil because if your plan changes, you don't have to go back and change the whole thing. You can choose to fill it out online. Once you exit that page, none of the information that you've put in there is actually saved. So you can save it as a PDF and go back and edit it yourself, but none of that information is actually collected from our website. And then the checklist, again, just a really great tool. We do suggest that you have 3 different types of emergency kits. So one for at home, so that's kind of your shelter in place kit. You have also your evacuation kit. So what can you grab and go? So think about if there is a fire at your house and you have an emergency kit, what would you have in that emergency kit to get you through the next day or two. So thinking about clothes, thinking about medications, any of those necessary things, as well as your emergency documents. So do you have the information for your homeowner's insurance? Do you know your bank account number? If you happen to, suffer a severe loss of your home, you want to make sure that you have some of those things with you in that evacuation kit. Get involved in your community. This is a big one. So we know that people are really supportive of having emergency plans, but they want to know what can they do during a disaster. We have a couple options for you. So all of our public safety agencies also accept volunteers. So the police department, as well as the fire department, they have the community emergency response team, or known as CERT. They have the volunteer fire department. Here, I'm going to highlight two things that emergency management does support. So we have volunteers that we train on the back end, and they help us go out during blue sky days and go out and educate the community on what they can do to prepare for emergencies. So we bring some material out, we bring examples of emergency kits, and we get out there and do those presentations. And then also we have Volunteer Fairfax supports the volunteer emergency team. And those are volunteers that are activated who can respond to different instances that are going on. One of the things that we can give you an example of is potentially helping people to clean out their homes. Like if there's a flood and people need to clean out their basements, volunteers may be called upon to help do some of that muck and gut operation. Vet volunteers also have the opportunity to be trained as vet leaders, where they can help Volunteer Fairfax actually set up a donation center and help take in donations, as well as set up a volunteer reception center if we have any spontaneous or any new volunteers that show up to volunteer that we need to get into the volunteer management system. We are going to do a information session for the volunteer emergency team on September 24th at 7 p.m. So we will, there's a sign up link and you can go on and register for that. You can also find that volunteer emergency team opportunity link within the volunteer management system under DEMS. So another great tool. It's just an information session, doesn't commit you to anything. And being a part of the vet team does not mean you're going to be called upon all the time. It just means that you're part of a priority group that is going to be called on. And then, of course, checking in with family and friends. We all want to make sure that we are connected when an emergency or disaster happens. Our friends and family want to know that we're safe. So make sure that you are taking the time, and with your communications plan, how are you going to check in with people? One of the suggestions that we do have is that you pick a contact that is outside of the area to be a point of contact to call, to be kind of that check-in person. So you may not be able to get a call out locally, but you may be able to call someone across the country where the cell towers are not as clogged. So if you have another family member and you guys are trying to figure out where you are, what you're doing. If one of you is in Arlington, if one of you is in Fairfax, you may have to call Aunt Sally, who's in Washington State, and she may be your point person to get that information back and forth. You can also use social media. So a lot of social media tools now have the ability, if you are geolocated within the area that is affected, there is a check-in tool so you can let people know that you are marked safe. And then, of course, being a good neighbor. It's always super important to know your neighbors. You want to make sure, especially if you have pets, that you may have someone that can go and grab your pet during an emergency. You know, if you have kids at home, if you're running late, you can make those folks a part of your emergency plan. And we do have the neighborhood, the 5-step neighborhood guide. And this is a guide of how to organize making a neighborhood plan in your community. So we have 5 steps that we follow. We also have an online training to support this, as well as a workshop that we can come out to do. So if you have part of your neighborhood or an HOA that is interested in putting together a neighborhood plan, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And this is very adaptable, no matter if you live in an apartment building, if you live in townhomes, condos, single family homes. We've done this in multiple different settings, so we can help walk through that process to make sure that your plan within your neighborhood fits for you. It's also a great way to meet your neighbors and learn what amazing skills or careers your neighbors have had. Some of the resources that could be available to you during an emergency, just from the people that are directly around you, could be super beneficial. I also want to encourage people to register for our Emergency Preparedness Expo. That's coming up on Saturday, September 6th. We're going to be kicking off the day at 10 a.m. with a little concert performance by Grammy award-winning artist 123 Andres. They have an exclusive emergency preparedness song that they have written for Northern Virginia. And we also have a really cute book that is a graphic novel that is going to be handed out to the kids that come to that. So we're going to be starting right at 10 o'clock, and that will kick off our Emergency Preparedness Expo. Following the performance, we will have different tables where people can go around and get preparedness information from different community partners, as well as a Touch a Truck expo outside. So there'll be a lot of different police and fire vehicles that kids will be able to interact with. And we want to make sure that, as we're doing this, we have positive experiences with kids. It makes it a lot less scary if they can meet and interact with first responders ahead of time, because all of that gear could be a little bit scary. We are also hosting a public safety day in Fairfax County. We will be having an open house at the McConnell Public Safety Transportation Operations Center. That is right across from Costco in Fairfax. And that will be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on October 4th. So yes, we are doing 10-4. So we all know that we hear that a lot on different TV shows in the public safety world. So we will have the 911 call center open so that we could do tours. Kids will be able to practice 911 calls, figure out what they may be asked, and do it in a low pressure, no pressure environment where they get to just talk to actual people who could be on the other end of the phone. The other thing is we will have the Emergency Operations Center open, so people can go in and tour that. All of our public safety partners will be there, as well as the Sheriff's Department, who is going to do child IDs. We will have a section set up too, so if you want to get your car seat checked, there will be an opportunity to get that checked while you're at the event. So it should be a great day. There will also be some vendors for food, pizza, and ices. So come out, you can enjoy the day, and that'll be from 10 to 2. And then, of course, I wanted to just mention Ready Fairfax is our preparedness program. So all of the things that we do, we have a community engagement staff that come out and do different presentations. So we teach Introduction to Preparedness until help arrives. We have different workshops for businesses, houses of worship, your neighborhood, even youth presentations starting in October, which we'll talk about next month. We will have our Open Scout Days for anyone that may be looking to have a tour within the 911 call center and the Emergency Operations Center as part of the youth programs that they participate in. So we'll give more information and signups about that next month. I do want to highlight, so if you got your car tax bill this year, you would have seen a little yellow insert. That insert actually had information about Fairfax Alerts, Community Connect, and the Emergency Health Profile. We're really pushing for people to sign up for emergency alerts. As we have seen in many different situations, we want to make sure that people have multiple ways to get emergency alerts. Number one, we send out information through Fairfax Alerts, where you can get information on traffic alerts, weather alerts, emergency alerts. If there's anything happening in a specific area where we need to get a message out about sheltering in place or police activity, that is the first place that we are going to send that information. Anything that you enter into Community Connect, which is you can give them information about who lives in your house, anything special about your house, if there are anyone that lives there that has any disabilities or access and functional needs that may need to be considered when responding, such as an autistic child that may be sensitive to noise, putting in there that may be coming with lights and no sirens. It may be a better approach. So anything you put in there, the first responders can see that as they're on their way to the call. So if you haven't done so already, please sign up for Community Connect. There is also a business version to that too. So if you own a business in Fairfax County, you can sign up. And anytime there is a call dispatched to that address, it will actually send you a text message and let you know that help is on the way. And it will, say to please meet them at the front of the property for coordination. So if there's anything dispatched to the address that you own, you'll know about it almost immediately. And then, of course, the emergency health profile. This is directly connected to your phone number. Community Connect is address-based. The emergency health profile is phone number based. So if you call in from the phone number that you register, your health profile will come up on the dispatcher screen, and you can put in there any critical health and medical information that may aid first responders in responding to that emergency or crisis situation that you are going through. Again, all of these tools are very, very helpful, but we need residents to sign up in order to be able to use them. So if you have not signed up, please take the time to do so because it is very beneficial for us. We do post a lot of information on social media. During September, we have a little campaign going, 30 ways in 30 days. So throughout September, each day, there will be a prep tip on there, and you can kind of follow those. But we really look forward to seeing residents out in the community. We'll be out at a lot of different events that are happening. So stop by our table, say hi. And then also you can follow us on social media to see anything else that we are putting out. And then what's next? So everyone is back to school. We are in full swing. So happy September. Our next webinar is going to be October 1st. So we will have everything ready together to give you then. October is the month where Fire Prevention Week happens. Faith in Blue Weekend happens, where faith communities and police officers come together and plan for emergencies. So it's a great way to just open that conversation. So we have a lot of great topics that will come up for next month. Fire prevention this year is actually talking about lithium-ion batteries. So it's a great topic for all of us to be able to listen to. So that's all I have for now, but we hope to see you out in the community in September, and happy National Preparedness Month. And we hope you all stay safe. Thank you.